So hey everyone. Well, a few things I have to mention. We are starting to formulate plans for going to Alamo City Furry Invasion, which is a new con for us. We have gone or made plans to go at the recommendation of a friend because supposedly it is supposed to be a good-sized convention for us. Um, we found that the larger conventions are kind of a little bit tricky for the two of us, at least these days. And, not to say that I wouldn't have reasons to go to some of the larger ones, but COVID, if nothing else, kind of caused me to reevaluate a couple of things as far as conventions, what I want to do, what I need to do, and, things of that nature. And for right now, we're kind of taking a wait and see approach to conventions as far as furry goes. Because, we just are kind of taking it a little bit at a time rather than the way we used to, which was like 3 cons a year, and it was more or less the same con until we reached the point that we needed to move for one reason or another. Um, Originally I stopped going to Further Confusion mostly just because it was a lot of things close together. Because for a couple of years, I think we had done MFF, we had done FC, TFF, and I went home to visit my parents, which was like 4 trips in 4 months, and it was just a lot. Um, we spread it around a little bit more, and we were going to MFF for a while. We were going to keep going through 2020, but of course, you know what happened to 2020. And after it resumed, we just haven't had the opportunity to go back, at least as of this particular point. For right now, ACFI seems like it's a good spot, a good size for us, so we're going to give that a try. It is in about a month of the recording of this video, mid-October, and it'll be our first con. It'll be the first time we've been to a new furry con in a while, new for us anyway. And I'm looking forward to it. I think I'll probably, take it easy and just sort of see how it goes. I mean, tentative plans are to try and maybe sell some books at TFF next year, although I'm a little intimidated about it. Because for one thing, I've never done it before, and I don't know if I have enough time to set it up. Maybe I do, I don't know. But a lot of it's just crossing my fingers that I even have something ready, because I'm still working on editing the book and getting it ready for publication and so on and so forth, and I will talk about that more in writing news. But to that end, as far as writing news goes, I am continuing to work on my 2 active major projects. I am writing the sequel to Winterfall, and I am editing the first Winterfall book and getting it into as good of a shape as I can, tweaking things, making adjustments for certain things that have been established since the book was written. And so far it's going well. I think that I should have the primary editing done across my fingers in about 5 weeks, which will put it right in the middle of October, so then there'll be time to figure out how to actually publish the thing and get that done. And while I'm at it, I might try and figure out how to update the copyright for my other book, Blue Moon. And once I have that, and the cover should be ready in October, and fingers crossed, it'll be a good cover, and we should have everything ready, hopefully latest sometime in November, but we'll see. As far as when the Blue Moon sequel will be finished, I don't know. I mean, right now it's just kind of being worked on relatively consistently. I'm not pressing myself too much to just like finish pages. But I would like to try and get it finished sometime soon. The next couple of things are really just wrap-ups, because I want to wrap up a couple of projects. A small project that I kind of started and got close to the end and just never finished. Plus, I kind of might want to go back and make a few edits to that one as well. And a short story collection set in the Blue Moon universe that I want to try and finish, because I plan to have 12 stories, and I would like to have 12 stories, but I only have 11 right now. And I want to finish the 12th story and put that out to sort of tide people over in the time it will take me to get to and get around to the second Winterfall. Not Winterfall, Blue Moon. Too many series. It's like I've got a bunch of things I want to get accomplished, and figuring it out is part of the problem. It's just finding time to just sit down, ponder the things I want to do, because it's like I really am trying to make to figure out the 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 plots for some other things first, and there's just a lot going on. But on the plus side, it means it keeps me busy, so there is that. But one thing at a time right now. It's like I am still crossing my fingers that I will be on track for Winterfall's release. And as far as the sequel, it's too early to really say anything about that, other than the fact that I'm working on Act 3 right now. Um, in video news, today is probably going to be a somewhat light day. Starting a little late. I am doing a vlog as usual. And as far as the other stuff, I have a review I can finish editing. There is another review I need to do a video plate and some editing for, but I don't know if I'm going to feel like doing that today. And I also need to come up with some additional non-review videos. The 4-act structure gave me a couple of months worth of projects, and now I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next, what I'd like to talk about, and then sort of take it from there. And that's currently being worked on. I'll probably spend some time on that today, just brainstorming the next couple of projects, because I don't know how much actual filming I'm going to get done today. But as long as I can at least edit the review and maybe get that scheduled, and so far so good. As far as books I'm reading Star Trek Discovery: Somewhere to Belong still. It's turning out to be a little bit better than my initial impressions. I think now we finally reached the point where, at least for me anyway, it's kicking into a little more high gear. I'm kind of interested to see where it goes, but so far so good. I think what it needed, at least, is a little bit of adrenaline, and it really hadn't had that in the first half, but it looks like it might be getting some of that, so we will have to see where that goes. I'm still reading The Accidental War. I haven't had time to read any more of it this week, in part because of busyness, in part because of social plans and other such things. I only have really what I would consider about 4 good windows to do reading during the course of any given week. So, best case scenario, I get like 4 chapters per book read. But, the other flip side is that if stuff comes up or whatnot, I know at least 2 of my reading periods this week I've had other things come up. But, I've read some Discovery this morning, which was good, and read a little bit more of my latest thing that I picked up, Red Vixen Adventures Stuck in the Middle with You, which I was originally going to put that off until later, but I had kind of gotten to the point where I was a little bit kind of, I guess, I don't know if I'd say bored is the right word, but just I felt like I needed a break from what I was reading, because it was taking longer than it usually kind of seems like it does, and I just needed something feel good that would entertain me, and usually Royce's work is perfect for that. It kind of hits all the boxes for me. And let's see, Stuck in the Middle with You, I can say, is that it's kind of probably set after some of the stuff that I'm reading now, so I may be reading slightly out of order because I haven't gotten any further than RVA 4. But technically speaking, I've read the prerequisite to this story, which is I Fought the Claw, which is the 3rd one, and I don't know what happens in 5, obviously, because I haven't read it yet, but I think that I can extrapolate what I need. I have enough that I know what's been going on between the previous well, at least to understand what's going on in the installment, and so far it's been pretty good. I read another scene today. I've kind of been, I always like to kind of savor his work, because it's just, it just, like I said, it ticks all the boxes for me. It's something I enjoy. I like the author as a person. We get along pretty well. It's all the good stuff, because, I've learned that if I, for whatever reason, have an issue with the author, that it makes it a lot harder to be objective on their work, and it makes it a lot harder to enjoy their work. And this is, it's not, it's, I don't know, it's just, maybe it's a little bit of personal perception and a little bit of other things, but it happens. I just sometimes with I've read, I've noticed that when I've read work of authors who I have a less than stellar opinion of, that it tends to bleed over, I guess, a little bit into the work. And I don't know if that exactly would be what I would call confirmation bias, but I think at least in part, it just is also part of the whole thing where if you are a crappy person, that crap is going to bleed over into stuff you do. And, I'm not going to name names. It's like I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but I'm just saying that I've noticed it in general, that if I find somebody an author that I don't get along with, if I try to read their work, it just tends to be, I don't know, not great. Because I think about them when I think about their work, and it just kind of, I don't know, if my interactions haven't been positive, it kind of just reminds me of that. It just doesn't do great. It's rare, it's not often, and I will also say that some authors that I initially had a completely, without evidence, by the way, negative impression of, or at least not even negative, just, I don't know, just ones that I was a little bit hesitant about. It's like, usually upon interacting with them, most of the time that goes away, because, once you start to get to know people, the stuff that formulates in your head, kind of becomes a little bit, either it gets perspective or it gets clearer and stuff. And I try and always be objective and fair and give everybody a shot and all that kind of stuff. And, I think I do pretty well. But I will say that, for example, some of the things I have heard about certain creators in Hollywood, whether it's true, whether it's not true, the fact that it seems like it at least has some credibility to it, unfortunately dampers my appreciation for their work. And I think this is just the same thing, because it's just like, it's important to me that the people that I support, the people whose work I enjoy, are good people and, are worth paying attention to. And it just is so sad when you find out that that is not the case. And I suppose that in some situations there's no way to avoid that. But at least by and large, it's like I try not to support people that I know are problematic for one reason or another. And kind of like I said earlier, sometimes if you're a crappy person, that crap bleeds over into other things, and it just kind of seems like it's like, well, of course this person's project is full of problematic things because they are problematic. And it's not necessary. Well, I suppose in a lot of cases it is personal reflection, but I don't know. There's just it's very disappointing when you meet people that you have high expectations of or high opinions of, and find out that they are not great. It's like, I will, one example that I will give is, I know that there's a bunch of books that I found on my bookshelf, and this was a person that I used to really enjoy, and in subsequent years I've heard things come out of their mouth that are just not stellar. And it's not been too many instances, for sure, but it's also just the kind of thing that I'm going through a phase where I'm trying to clear out some of the things in my house that I no longer feel the need to retain. And I kind of think that this might be one of them, insofar as I don't really feel like I'm going to be able to read the author's work the same way, based on the little bits the tone deaf comment that I have heard them say. And I don't know, there's just ideally, if you're a good person and your work is good, I will be a fan for life. And if that turns out to be, I think they call it a milkshake duck. If you turn out to be one of those, well, then I might be less inclined to pick up your next project, that sort of thing. And it's definitely kind of impacted some of my appreciation for some of my favorite things. But all I know is I can say I hope Terry Matalas never turns out to be a jerk, because I love Picard season 3, and everything I've seen of him seems like he's really nice, and everybody seems to love him, and I kind of hope that continues to be the case. Because, I mean, I tend to think that we get out what we put into the universe, whether we realize it or not. And if you put out good things into the universe, good things will come back to you. If you treat people nice, they will treat you nice. And, it's all things like that. It's just, be a good person. It's like you may, examine yourself from time to time. It's like, am I doing things that are not as great as they should be? Because, I mean, I think that one of the gifts of being sentient is that you have the capacity for self-examination and self-improvement. And people that work on that do that, I think you can see it. That, it's important. I think it's important that everybody just try and just be good people, just get along with everyone else, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I try and put out like really good stories with like a lot of passion that I feel put into it. It's like I try and put a lot of feeling into my books because I really want when people read them to feel that same sensations that I'm kind of putting into it. This is just like what I said earlier, it's like putting out into the universe good things. And there's antagonists and there's a lot of stuff going on, but I try and make it just just in such a way that it just it leaves you with some of that indescribable positivity that comes with the creation of something that really matters. I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling at this point, but I think it's kind of a point. Kind of a good point. I think I was talking about Red Vixen Adventures, wasn't I? I don't know. I think I got off on a tangent somewhere. But anyway, I'm still reading the novella Stuck in the Middle with You. I don't know where in the list it is because I only have a solid number of up to 1 through 6. And then there's some short stories at the end of it, which of course I am taking my time and enjoying. And I still have to start RVA 5, but I'm trying to finish at least one of the 3 titles I have on my queue. I found 2 usually works pretty well for me. 3 is the most I can do at one time. But, any more than that. But I also have, I mean, that's what I'm reading right now. I know I plan to read something else that I picked up that I'm hoping is in my wheelhouse. I think it's called A New Life. I'm not sure. By an author called B. Kozer. I've never read them before, but fingers crossed that it is what I hope it is. But we'll find out. It's like, I don't know. I still at some point would like to read Tiberius Rings trilogy, or at least the first one, to determine if I like them. But again, it's one of those things that it's just like people. I have more books to read than the capacity at which I can read and review them. But for right now, I've got 6 books on my Kindle. I've got 1, 2, 3, at least 3 novels in physical form that I have to read, and there's always stuff for me to do. But I will say that so far, I'm enjoying Stuck in the Middle with You, the second Marty story, and good stuff. So I think it was because I was talking about Royce, but it's going pretty well. I really don't want to say much at this point because for one thing it's a short story, and it's I don't want to spoil anything, but they are headed to a space station to try and purchase it because supposedly it's in a good location for what they need. And now that they've gotten there, there's a bunch of other things that are coming up, which it's a novella, so it's relatively short, but I still think I'll enjoy it. And, I will probably do at least a short review for it. But that is in the future. I guess that's about it as far as things to talk about right now. Things are okay. I think I'm doing okay. I could be doing better, but I think I am making progress, trying to find a rhythm, trying to find that happy balance in life, which I think I'm doing okay with right now. Organizing the house is still going little bit by little bit, and I have to come up with a couple of ideas for videos today. So I guess that is what I will be working on this afternoon. But I guess I will leave you with the comment that with any luck, now that I am editing the novel, I will probably start releasing some of it on Patreon. So if you are interested in signing up, it'll probably be to all the tiers. So I mean, if you just sign up and give me $1, it's like you can get an early look at some of the early chapters that I will be probably releasing on my Patreon, and a bunch of other things as well. Hopefully, I'm going to start releasing some more stuff there. I still don't know how regular it's going to be because I kind of pressure kills my calm. So it'll be erratic, but it'll be there'll be stuff coming out. At least I fingers crossed. But anyhow, that's it for now, and I hope you all have a good 2 weeks, and I will see you when I come back.
If you like werewolves, check out my book Blue Moon, available in paperback and ebook on Amazon.
Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. You can also find me on Twitter and a few other places on the web, or support me via Patreon or Ko-fi. Zebra hugs!